Welcome to the Carlow Creative Club interview two with the one and only Morgan Mescal. He's a former graduate of our course, TV Media Production at IT Carlow, and he's got a lot of work ever since he's graduated with RTE, doing his own freelance work and getting hired on other projects as well, etc. So, Morgan, tell us who you are.
First of all, thanks for having me on for this interview. So for anyone who doesn't know me, I'm Morgan Mescal and I graduated from IT Carlow, TV and Media Production last year. And since then, I've done quite a bit of work. I'm a freelance camera assistant. I'm working with NEP and TVM. They're both the two highest OB broadcast companies here in Ireland. NEP do all the rugby and the soccer, and then TVM do all the GAA. And then that's my main job. And then on the side, then I'm working away on my own projects, music videos, short films. I've done a good few assistant directing jobs with a few other companies. And that's myself.
Awesome, man. Awesome. Yeah, me and Liam both have the pleasure and the experience that we've worked with you on projects before. Morgan was doing camera and a bit of AD on Liam's film Evocation, and Morgan filmed one of my basketball games, and I acted in one of his music videos that he directed. So Morgan's a versatile dude. We're happy to have him on. We want to learn a lot from him and hopefully get some value for everyone watching.
Brilliant, yeah, and happy to help out there with Liam's film. And of course, yeah, Brendan, you were just helping me out there recently enough, so glad to have you on board, and hopefully we'll work on many more projects down the line.
I mean, I'm a pretty helpful guy, I'm very good with timing, and when you have this face, you got to use it. So let's slide into it. Morgan, as Liam said, like, you're awesome with camera, you're a good director, you have a good eye for aesthetic as well as story. We're just going to start you off with a little prompt. What are a few tips you want to give to young creative people that have these great ideas in their head, but they might not know how to put it into action yet?
So I think pre-planning is what it all comes down to. A lot of directors that I've worked with when I've been at AD, they come on set and they know what they want already. It's wide shot, close up, close up. I'm quite different in that I'll do storyboards and I'll map out everything that I want from the script, what shots I want, and that really helps with composition in the shots. You can know it's okay, I'm going to do rule of thirds here, or I want leading lines, and that's how you, like, other directors can do that. But like you were saying, for people starting out who can't really quite get what they want from paper onto a film screen, I think storyboards is the way to go, because you can draw and physically see what you want in your head down on paper. You bring that with you onto your film set, and it's just a little bit of help when you're on the set and stuff gets stressful when you start filming. So it's a thing always to go back to, and then you can be like, okay, I'm a little bit lost right now. What's my next shot? Storyboards. Okay, I want the wide shot next. It's going to look like this. Tell it to the cameraman, and there you go. You're back on track.
Can you tell us a bit more about the work you've done this year? Maybe start off with like your own kind of freelance work and your own projects, and then just tell us about like the work you've been hired for and the companies you work for.
Yeah, so my own projects, when I very first came out of college, I could not find any job. I was sending off CV after CV and getting rejection after rejection. And I think it's important, first of all, to say that, like, expect that. You're going to have a lot of no's before you get a yes, but you just got to keep on pushing through. But the first group of people I worked with was a group down in Galway, and they were filming this big horror film in a big cathedral. And just by going down to that one day, I met so many people, and that's more connections, all about making connections. So that one's called The Cathedral. So that's a short film that I was AD on. And then from that group of people, one of the sound guys was also making his film, and he thought I did a great job with that AD. So he got me on doing AD up in Longford for another short film. So that's called Mystic Mini, and that'll be coming out very soon. And then, yeah, my own projects, then I have The Ripper going on, which was my final year project, but it's quite ambitious. Yeah. Like, you'll find a lot of student films, they're present day stuff, and they're romantics or thrillers or someone, yeah, just kind of very, like, it might have a great storyline, but as in terms of production, it's quite keeping the costs down. Whereas
there's kind of like an expected format with a lot of student films, and the ones that stand out are the ones that, like yours, you're going to a different time, it's like a period piece. So I feel like for students out there trying to make a name for themselves with their reel and with their projects, like do something drastically different like Morgan's doing with his. I feel like that's a really good a really good way to make yourself stand out.
While my project is ambitious and it has the period style of a different time going on, you have to keep in mind then the price of stuff, because this has costed me a lot of money and a lot of my own investment. And that is kind of why it has dragged on a bit more as well, because I've had to work and get the money to give to the actors and put into
Sell
the
your
cost.
liver, sell your legs. Yeah, we've seen you, man. You look like shit, but the movie's gonna be great.
Exactly, like it is a process. But yeah, that's Jack the Ripper. So that's basically, I suppose I'll tell you a bit about the story. It's basically a twist on the real life Jack the Ripper from 1888, where obviously we all know that story. He went around, he killed prostitutes, and he was never caught. So in my story, the prostitutes are vampires. That's why they're out at nighttime. And Jack the Ripper is the hunter. So he comes along and he's killing them. And then he's got his own wife back home tied up in his cellar that is basically has been turned into a vampire. So he's looking for a cure. And then there's a lot of different storylines going on. Then there's a journalist who's my main character, because I thought it'd be different just to take a different perspective rather than Jack's perspective. So I went for the journalist. She's trying to make her own name and get her name on the front page of the newspaper. So she has a whole quest line of her own, and I won't say anything else because I'll end up giving away the whole story. But yeah, that's Jack the Ripper. And then sure, I have a music video thing, Deja Vu, coming out for my cousin Nell Mescal. And then I have Slipstream, which is out on Friday, which stars Brendan.
Oh, what?
Looking forward to seeing that.
I don't remember it.
Yeah, Nell Mescal, if I'm correct, she's the sister of the famous actor Paul Mescal.
What? I don't know them at all. Who are they?
Are you sure not related to them at all? No, sure not.
I don't know. No, I just get it quite a lot that sometimes I'm like, no, I don't actually know them. But yeah, no, that's the one you're thinking of.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's an ongoing project I have at the moment as well.
Go back to what you said there earlier. You were saying how like at first you applied for a lot of jobs, you got rejected and all that, but then you got in on other projects and other jobs just through networking and meeting new people. Can you tell us more about that and the value of meeting new people and getting in contact with more people in the industry?
So there's a lot of different ways to network. And I think the very first, most obvious one is your course mates. So it's important to stay in contact with them after college, because as well as you, they're going to be going off looking for jobs, and they might get into a job and then another role in that job might open up, and they might get onto you and be like, look, Liam, Brendan, there's a job opening here. Do you want to come and I can recommend you? Like, so that's your first point of call really with connections with people in the industry. After that then, so how I got the job assistant directing in Galway was I was actually an extra in the RT series Smother. So extra is just walking up and down in the background, but you meet so many people who are really interested in filmmaking, just other extras, the same as yourself, they just want to get on a set. Yeah. And while an extra, it's seen as like the bottom, like nobody cares about the extras at all, but you get a chance to just at lunch breaks, go around, talk to the big important people and talk to the other extras. And that's how I got it. I was talking to another extra. He happened to have a production company. He was like, oh, you'd be really cool for this position. Like, and so that's the second thing. Join up Extras Ireland. There's a few different groups that hire extras around Ireland. Yeah. I think they're looking for extras now for Valhalla. So there's one that you can look into, anyone watching. Mm-hmm. So the third networking thing I would say is obviously social media. There's so many Facebook groups for Ireland filmmakers, alternative filmmakers Ireland. There's a few groups there on Facebook. So you have that as well for seeing what projects are going on.
Brilliant. Yeah. One of the things we did when we first started Carlow Creative Club, we obviously made a bunch of social medias for it. And at first we were like, what do we want this to be? How can we kind of make the most out of it? And one of the just the simple things we do is when we see a good listing for an acting thing or a camera position on those Facebook pages, we just screenshot it from Facebook, put it to Instagram to kind of spread the reach out there a little bit and to try to help some people find some opportunities. And when you're speaking of being an extra on set, I related to that. About 3 years ago, I was an extra for a show called SMILF, Single Mother I'd Like to. Sorry, someone stuck in my throat. And one of the things I did to kind of try to stand out is I brought my business cards. They're for my basketball coaching, but I gave them out to a bunch of people, and a bunch of other people had business cards too. So there's real value in, like, you can have a great networking opportunity, but you need something to create a bridge so you can keep talking to them, whether it's their social media, their business card, just get something across that you can contact them again, because you don't get the opportunity to meet a bunch of contacts at once. And when you do, you need to stand out and really be social, just be friendly and just talk to people.
So I really love that idea about the business cards. Actually, like a lot of people, it's social media. Can you add me on this? Can you add me on that? But business cards, they're cheap to get and they're easy made, and they're so much more professional. You just go from here to here straight away.
Exactly.
They stick out in your mind. Like they'll go home, they'll be like, "Oh, is this my pocket game? Oh yeah, it's Brendan Butler. Like Butler's basketball. Like so."
Wipe up coffee and stains in their house, and it's really effective. Yeah.
Yeah, no, but it is a professional thing, and people will remember that. And then like the bonus will be if you do get them on social media, then as well, you have them on that as well.
One thing I want to ask you there, Morgan. You talked a lot about your own personal projects, but can you tell us about the work you got hired for? You were working on Dancing with the Stars, weren't you? Yeah.
The company that does that was NEP. So I started with rugby games. So as a camera assistant, I would show up to the matches, I would set up the camera. So it took me a day or two where the lads who were above me, like the camera operators, the camera supervisor, would teach me, okay, you set up the legs, balance the camera, and it's a little bit different to the ones in college because these are bigger cameras for TV, like, so it takes a little bit of getting used to. But once they're happy with me doing that, I was off doing my own, setting up all the cameras. So yeah, I started with the rugby, had absolutely no interest in rugby, but when you're there, you actually do kind of get interested in whatever you're working in. So I started off with the rugby, had a couple of gigs there, and they were like, okay, you're really good at this. Do you want to do a TV show? And usually NEP just do matches or whatever, but because they have such equipment, like sometimes a show will come into Ireland and they'll get the contract for it. So that's the situation with two different shows. So the first one I worked on was for Fox over in America. I presume they had tax incentives to come over here in Ireland. And it was called Name That Tune. So basically contestants would come on and they'd be given loads of money if they could answer what's this song that was playing or whatever. When you're in this setting, you do meet a lot of celebrities. Like I think I've met a celebrity at least once every month so far this year, but you have to act professional. You have to, you can't come up like, can I get a photo? Can you give me an autograph or something? You have to just just that small talk. You're passing the hall. Hi, how are you? That's it. And just keep on going. And because, it's just acting professional. But then, so the second show then I went on to was Dancing with the Stars, and that was unbelievable. I had, again, no interest in dancing. Next thing at the end of the weeks, I was like, oh yeah, I'll bust out a couple of moves here and there. When you come out of our course, I think a lot of people say to you as well during the course, they're always like, oh, it's a lot of who you know and not what you know. And that is true to a certain extent, because Ireland is so small, and like even on Dancing with the Stars, one of the photographers was like, oh, did you go to college with Gemma Delaney, one of the mature students in my course? And I was like, oh yeah. So it's just such a small world. You always run into someone who knows someone. But in my case, I didn't really have any big connection, bar the cousin now, but I haven't used that connection yet. But I hadn't any other connection to that, or to get into NEP, or to get in with Dancing Stars. But just through, I wanted to do camera work for soccer matches. Yeah. So through my own interest, I knew that the two companies were NEP and TVM. So I literally just went onto their website, sent them off my CV, and they just got me in for a day. And I've done work experience as well for free for TVM first before they gave me a day. So it's just, you got to go searching as well for yourself. But if you do show ambition, they will get you onto a gig. Like,
who are some of your creative inspirations? It doesn't have to be necessarily in film or somebody super established.
So number one actually is Christopher Nolan, which I actually, hold on a second now.
Props.
Actually have his book here, free advertising for Christopher Nolan. But yeah, I'm reading that at the moment, and it's just great to see his early life as well and stuff. When he went to college, he didn't study film, but there was a society in his college that did filmmaking. So he joined that college just for their equipment and stuff. And that's how he started, very similar to us, just making our own little projects. And it's great to see his success then. So it kind of gives us the belief that we can get there as well. And just the movies he makes, like Inception and Tenet, it's all these crazy ideas of time and space, and just his worlds is just imaginative, and I love that about him. I suppose I'm referring back to my cousin again, but for me it is a very personal creative inspiration is my cousin Paul Mescal, because before this I only wanted to do camera operator for soccer games and everything, but seeing how his ambition pushed him to such heights, it's kind of made me want to reach those heights as well. So that's another inspiration for me as well.
So Morgan, if you had one sentence, just one sentence to press your dream boss, what would you say?
So it's cool that you asked this actually, because only the other day I seen a post on Facebook and I had this line. It was just like trying to get a promotion, but it applies to film and movies as well. And the line was, if you're in an interview and you're asking for a promotion or a raise or whatever, the question you need to ask is, how can I be guaranteed to be involved in projects that are critical to the strategic future of this company? And it's just such a like boom game changer moment, because you're going from like this selfish person wanting a raise or wanting a new position to being a team player that wants to contribute to making something great for other people.
Yeah.
As for the dream job or the dream boss, probably like anyone who knows me knows I love Gal Gadot. So working for her production company would be awesome. Gal, if you're watching,
We'll pull some strings, we'll make it happen for you.
Yeah. Sound. If I ever meet her, I'll tell her to join Carlow Creative Club.
She's gonna have to really apply herself, but I think she has a chance.
Yeah, just a little chance. Just a little chance.
You'll have to squeeze her in for a couple of minutes of an interview at some stage.
She can get 5 minutes.
5.
Yeah.
No,
Gal, come please. Yo, we need you. We need you.
We want Gal. We want you here.
Sweet, man.
Yeah.
No, thank you for that. And you really made a good point too, because so many of us go into interviews and I feel like there's 2 pathways we take. Yes, it's like it's you can say it's selfish. It's like, I need this job. I need this for my future. This is so important. But kind of when you go in there, the other avenue is, I'm so nervous. I'll do anything they want me to do just to get the job. And I think we've all kind of balanced between those 2 things. But what you're saying is like, what can I do to make sure I'm a part of the big impactful stuff that you guys do? So you're already like complimenting them. You're saying that you want to consistently work with them. It's not like, hey, I want to do this project and then I'm out. It's like, I want to consistently move forward with you guys and make sure, I'm a part of the big impactful project. So, you're really hitting multiple strides there.
And I think as well, you also, when you are going for a job, you have to believe in yourself as well. Just because only recently now I was offered a new job with a new company, which was TVM, because I've usually worked for NEP, and it's a role I haven't done before, which is a rigger. So I asked my friends, like, what's the price for a rigger for a daily rate or whatever? And it was something like 320. And I was like, oh, wow, I don't think I'm worth that much in a way, because I've never done it before. So I did a little bit of haggling. I dropped my price a little bit. I was like, look, I'm only new. So is this okay if I go for this lower price? I know, but I do know what the other people are getting. And they were like, oh yeah, no problem. We'll give you this. And when you get a bit more experience, we'll bring you up to this in a couple of games. So don't be afraid to ask for the big money. It sounds like a lot, but you paid a lot of money to go to college and to get these skills. So you got to believe in your own skills and your own ability. And yeah, you're worth it.
So Morgan, that's great to know the importance of your own value. But you just explained to us like how you utilize that money to put it back into your own projects and your own work.
Yeah, so obviously making the money is great, but at the end of the day, you have to reinvest it into yourself. And at the end of the day, it's great making all these projects and everything, but you have to, put a roof over your head and eat food as well. So you gotta watch what you're spending as well. Like try not to go too over budget. Like I'm kind of lucky that I'm just living at home with my parents right now, so I save a bit extra money to put into my film, but I'm hoping it'll all be worth it in the end. But yeah, definitely when you're doing your own projects, definitely keep track of what you're spending, because it can add up really, really fast with filming, especially.
No, thank you for all your tips today and your stories. I learned a lot and I'm ready to learn even more from you. And I know that everyone in Carlow Creative Club will appreciate that info, man. Thank you.
Same as myself, Morgan. Thank you very much. You were super today.
Yeah.
Great tips, great advice, and hopefully our team, our club, can utilize this information for their own careers in the future.